Let's show the graphic. It turns out, hey, Lions royalty, he was spot on. Guy just doesn't miss. And here's his graphic of the official schedule. Yeah. Hey, I would still tune in. But look at the schedule. So here it is, the graphic that Lions royalty made, and it is spot on. This is the exact schedule. He didn't mess up one single game. Yes, the bye week in week 5 is correct. It sucks. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I saw someone on Twitter say, especially with the time frame you have off for the off season, then players, you get acclimated in training camp, you kind of get in playing shape, you get used to taking hits. Like there might be some guys that are banged up at the beginning of the season, so maybe that bye week is beneficial. Like screw all that, man. I'd rather have the bye week late in the season.
Can I be honest?
When it gets tough.
And the worst part before you go, Booner, is that right after that bye week, not only do you have it early on, which doesn't help if guys are, you kind of want it later on for injury's sake, but right after that bye, 4 out of your 5 games are on the road, which makes it even tougher. Like not really any easy opponents, like all these are going to be great games. I mean, they really don't have like a favorable schedule. They're going to play tough matchups pretty much every week. I mean, obviously given it is the NHL or the NFL, you can go out and win any game, but man, it's tough. And then you got like week 14 through 18, a lot of like your divisional hopes and how you're seated in the NFC is going to come down to like those games. So it's going to be tough to end out the year and coming out of that bye week.
I'm not going to sit here and say and try and lie and say I hate I'm not like, yeah, week five sucks. That's not, ideal. I think there's 4 teams total when I was doing the research earlier that says week 5, I believe, is the first week that any teams can get a bye. I think it's week 5 to 14, I believe, or 5 to 11. And so 5's that first week, and there's 4 teams that get it. So we happen to be one of those teams. Wow. I'm not going to sit here, though, fellas, and say that it's like, I don't think it's like as big of a deal as we think it is. Like, like last year we had injuries after week 3, week 4, and we were sitting there like scraping to get to week 8 and 9 for that bye week. So it's just like that's going to come a little earlier. And I know, you're going to have a big stretch after. But then I look back to 2022 when we started 1-6. We had a week 6 bye, fellas. And then after that, you finished the season 8-4. And that team, like that Lions team, got extremely hot after that. So it's not as crazy as I feel like. Yeah, I think last year it was week 9. There was like a long, a big gap there. You can get a bye week, and we got the first week. So it's brutal. Like you don't want a week 5. Obviously, you want to split the season up in the middle as much as you can with the bye week. Like that's the most ideal situation. I don't think it's a situation though that it's gonna like, it's going to affect the way the Lions end up playing for the full season, and it's going to affect them winning the Super Bowl. Like that's just me personally. I just don't have that feeling to where it's like, oh man, week 5 bye week, we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. Oh, we're going to struggle in the playoffs because like you're going to have a second half of the season. You're going to have to figure out a way to get it done anyways. Just like 2 years ago in 2022, when you started 1-6, you had that week 6 bye. And then, okay, you have to figure out coming off that bye, how are we going to turn things around here? And they end up going 8-4 and ending the season really, really well. I think Dan's going to find a way to use this, in their favor, and he's going to find a way to do that. And coming off the bye, what the best part about the bye is? You come back and you're going to be fully healthy for that Dallas game in Dallas, which is, to me, probably the second biggest game of the season outside the 49ers when you're fighting for a 1 seed. So that's like, let's take this as a positive as well. Let's find that. You get a bye to get healthy, right? So everyone's healthy right before Dallas, because that's going to be one of those games to where it's going to help for seeding as well.
Guys, I don't know about you. Now that we have the schedule, we kind of remember we talked about our record predictions before we even saw a schedule, and it was like 12-5, 13-4. That's kind of where we were hovering at. When I actually dove into this, I kind of like the schedule. Despite the bye week, I think there's some good matchups on here. I think the Lions will be favored in about 90% of these games. The only 2 games I don't think they will be is the obviously the road game in San Francisco and the road game to the Texans. And potentially, I think it'll be a pick 'em on the road to the Packers. But like every other game, maybe Dallas, but I
don't think they'll be favored in Dallas. But
so there you go. There's like 3 to 4. I think everything else is. I would say they're favorited. But we'll go through it. We'll start week 1. Now we don't have Lucas here, but when he gets here, he can catch up. I know he has some.
By the way,
losses.
Jeff, I shot you a text. I sent you the Lions one in our Slack, and it has the times in it. I don't know if that's more helpful while we're going through this for the people to see the times and
Yeah, let me. I'll put that up. That's gonna be way better.
Yeah, they just tweeted it out about a minute ago, so I think that might be a little bit better.
All right, let me get that up instead. Yeah, and we'll go through and we'll go game by game and give our record here. Let me put this up. Yeah, this is a lot better. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, the times do kind of help just to see when they actually play these games. Okay. So here's the schedule. We'll zoom in here. Okay. So this is the Lions. They released this. So the week 1 against the Rams is a primetime game. It's at 8:20 p.m. That'll be a good game. That is on Sunday Night Football. How we feeling about this game? Now that we got the week 1 confirmed. Where are we at in the chat? Feel free to chime in. Win or loss? How do you see this one going?
Go ahead, Gentry.
I think we're going to win it, but I mean, I'm very hyped to see Stafford again. The environment's going to be insane. Obviously, week 1 primetime game, but I kind of wish this one was stashed away a little bit more. And I would have rather have seen it later on in the season, but this was one of 3 games that I wanted to really open up with. So it's going to be electric, man. This is going to be just like the playoff game last year. Ford Field's going to be rocking, and Lions are coming out with the W again.
Dang, Boone.
Yeah, I think this might be a great game. This is going to be one of the best games of the year. It's hard for me to say the Lions lose a game at Ford Field, especially Monday or Sunday Night Football. Lions fans are going to be ready to go after coming off that 49ers loss. The whole city of Detroit's going to be here. The Lions, all these guys are going to be motivated more than ever to go out there and kind of bounce back and have a good start to the year after the 49ers. But again, I don't know where you guys stand on this. You guys remember what Matthew Stafford did in that game last year? Threw for almost 400 yards and cut him up. So I do know, though, you have Carlton Davis now, Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson. You have a lot of guys. So, this is going to be – it might end up being one of the best games of the week, to be honest. And I think the hype's going to be there. I'm going to say the Lions win this game, and they beat the Rams. And if we're going week by week, I'm going to write down – I'm going to keep my track of mine over here. But – I think they get the win here. I don't see them losing in a big game in Ford Field. They don't lose big games at that, home or away. Ford Field, they're not losing this game. No chance.
So I'm gonna go loss. Because and before everyone attacks me, okay, this is what my thought process. All right.
Ooh, this man.
This is a hell of a first game. It's going to be close. I'm not saying the Rams are going to take care of the – no, I think this could be a close game, just like the playoffs was when they initially faced the Rams. I think the Lions lose this one, but it propels them and kind of shifts their focus. It'll be Terrion Arnold's first game. He's playing CB2. He's guarding Puka Nacua, his first game in the NFL. I think there will be an adjustment for some of these guys, especially Terrion Arnold. But again, I could see this game being down to the wire and the Rams coming out on top. But again, I think that propels the Lions forward their next 3 games.
You know what?
That makes a pissed off Lions team. That's just my opinion.
Jeff, I was driving home today, and when I was thinking about the schedule, I knew it was all right, Rams are going to be week 1. It went through my head. If the Lions lose this game, how does that help throughout the season? And to me, it's you lose that game, and we've seen Dan Campbell's teams off losses. It motivates them more than ever.
Dude, the Chiefs lost against the Lions and won the
Super Bowl. Yeah.
So, I'm not worried. This doesn't even.
So, to me, the thing I was thinking about, too, is, if the Lions lose this game, let's turn on ESPN the next morning about how the Lions could be frauds, how they could be this. But if that does happen, in my head, I know, no, this is something that I know a guy like Dan Campbell is about to bounce back from better than ever. So I did have that thought today because it is such a big game, and you did just beat them twice last year. Wait, was it twice last year? No, once. But you just beat them, and you had that big win versus them. They're gonna have a revenge kind of side part of them as well. So I had the thought, but I still think they end up pulling the win out.
Well, here's the thing. I think the Lions are the first 4. They start 3-1. So that's my loss. I just spoiled it,
okay.
But that's my loss if I'm being honest. We'll keep it pushing here. Tampa Bay next, guys. I think they win this game. I'm not going to waste too much time on it. It's a home game. And I think they have the Bucs number. I know it's hard to beat a team 3 times, but I just think they're schematically and in terms of personnel just better than the Buccaneers. So I'm going to go Lions take care of the Bucs here. Sorry, Jeff Olson in the chat. Much love to you. But they take care of the Bucs. They take care of the Bucs here.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think they win. I do understand the two. They dominated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year in the playoffs and in the regular season. They didn't have any of their running backs last year on the road and beat them. And then in the playoffs, they were like, yeah, it was a playoff game, so it was close. But if you watch the football game, the Lions, I said it before, it felt like there was no point within that game, at least to me. I don't know how you guys felt, where I was like really nervous that the Lions were going to, have a chance to lose that game. Even now when Baker had the ball the last couple minutes, I was like, no, they're going to get a stop here. And that's kind of how I feel with this game. They're going to dominate them.
Yeah, I agree. Not much to say about it. Just like Jeff, this is going to be a dub for the Lions.
Well, real quick on the Rams game, Alan says, would you guys think it's a good idea to give a special thanks to Stafford for his time at the Lions for the opening game?
I say yes. I said it yesterday. I mean, I'm not going to
do it, I think.
Yeah.
That would be the time.
Dude, we talked about it yesterday. It's Stafford. I mean, he left right away and won a Super Bowl. It wasn't him that failed the city. It was the front office and the ownership at the time. So, like, I have no hard will or whatever the term is versus Stafford. It's more so
ill will, yeah.
Ill will, yeah. Like, I'm fine with the Stafford. I know, like, I listened to Spenny today and everything saying, boo the kids, F Stafford, no video. Like, Matthew Stafford's going to have his jersey. He's going to be in the Lions Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor, whatever it's called. He's going to be a part of that. Same with Kelvin. Like, those guys, that's going to happen. This is probably his last time he'll ever play in Detroit. If you're going to sit here and say boo him in that, like, get on with that. I'm like, as a football fan, like, move on. Like, don't be one of those people. I'll say it straight up.
Well,
give him his tribute video. Let him have his time, and then go beat them by 30. Grow up. I mean, honestly, what are we doing here?
The playoffs are different. Like, fuck a tribute video in the playoffs. But week 1, it's like,
you can't
regular season,
like fucking playoffs.
No, fuck no. But like week 1, it's like whatever. If they do it, cool. If they don't, cool. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
we'll keep it.
I wouldn't hate it, but I don't think they're gonna do it.
Yeah, and I'm curious.
Maybe if they do, but they'll fire Jared Goff up a little bit more. So who knows?
I mean, if you're booing Stafford and you hate Stafford, that man just lives rent free in your head. So move on. That's like, I'll just say that. He lives rent free in your head because he went and won a Super Bowl. Move on.
All right, week 3, they take on the Arizona Cardinals on the road. Cardinals, they did get a lot better. All right, they did, but they're nowhere near the Lions in terms of a complete roster. I think they take care of the Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon to me is just, you think he's a funny guy, I think he's a good dude, but as a head coach, I am not sold. Give me the Lions on the road. And I think they win this one by like 10, 14 points, to be honest with you. I'm sorry.
Dominate. This isn't going to be a good football. Dominate. Dominate this team. That's a win. I don't have much to say about the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think they will end up winning this game, but it's still going to be a good test for them for their future games with Kyler coming back, being fully healthy, him moving around out of the pocket. And then they signed some wide receivers, and obviously they drafted Marvin Harrison. So, I mean, the offense will still be there, but the Lions are getting dubbed.
All right, so I have them at 2-1. You fellas have them at 3-0 at this point. We'll go to Seattle. That is next before the bye week there. So let me see if I can. Yeah, I mean, I'll do that. I'll keep it like that. All right, the Seahawks. They're at home. That is also a primetime game. That is a Monday night game, Monday Night Football against the Seahawks. I love this. Perfect time to get revenge against the Seahawks. Give me the Lions.
Sadly, I am not. I am taking the Seahawks in this game. This is going to be another one that it just slips away from them, sadly. And then they're going to go into the bye week fired up, and then they're going to go into Dallas fired up, and Dan Campbell's going to have those boys ready for a W in Dallas.
Wow. So, without they got Mike McDonald?
Yeah. I like I said, I think they're going 3, or like you said, kind of. I think they're going 3-1 in those first 4 games. And I think this Seattle one, I hate to say it, I don't want the Seattle Seahawks to win this game, obviously, but this is my first loss for the Lions.
Wow, Gentry. I'm gonna be very honest here. I'm trying to be as realistic as possible, and for what this team's ceiling is, I would not be shocked if they started the season 4-0 going into the bye week. I would
Yeah,
not.
I wouldn't be. I mean, I'm at 3-1, so it's
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked, and I think that's what ends up happening. I think you have a pretty favorable. I know the first 4 games you could say are pretty tough, but I still think it's a favorable. Like you could have landed the Dallas Cowboys and 49ers in the first 4 weeks, and you ended up getting the Seahawks, Cardinals, Bucks, and Rams. Those are all teams that you can beat, and you should beat. And again, you probably are going to be favored in every single one of those games. So I think a whole new regime in there in Seattle. Obviously, like we could sit here and say, oh, the Seahawks have the Lions' hand, but we know what the NFL is, guys. You have a whole new regime, a new coaching staff, a new everything. None of that matters in the past now with the Seattle Seahawks. On top of that, guess what that pregame speech and that whole week of practice is going to be leading up in Allen Park with Dan Campbell. Guess what that's going to be? It's going to be these guys beat you guys the last 2 seasons in Ford Field. Last minute, everything like that. They're going to make sure, like Dan's going to make sure these guys know it. All of these guys essentially on this team, all of them have been here for 2 years and lost to Seattle twice. They're all going to want to go out there and beat Seattle. So I think they're going to get the job done. Start 3-0 at home, 4-0 on the season.
You know what, Boone?
They very well could be, Boone.
Boone, you got me fired up. And even this, and by the way, shout out Truth Teller, man. He keeps it real. I do appreciate him. He says, I feel like some of you guys are forcing losses they don't believe are there. None. Hold on. I will say this, Boone. This is where I'm coming from. Let me know if you agree with me. There's a lot of games the Lions are going to win. Like I mentioned, they're going to be favored in most of these games. It's hard to really pick out. In the NFL, there's going to be some losses here that really just
I agree.
Happen.
So how
go on.
Like to your point, it's and to that guy's point. When you do have it in your head, you're like, oh, I want to make sure I'm at like you guys. I know you guys said they're going to win 12 games this year, and I'm at 13. Like you do have that, like when we're going through the schedules, you're like, oh, right, which ones are going to be the losses? So you try and force them. But for me, it's like even look at last season. Typically, the games that they were supposed to win, they won. And same in the second half of the year before. It was sometimes the games you really lose when you're a contender in the NFL. It's when you get into those shootouts versus the Cowboys, 49ers, the Texans, like. Those are the games you drop or divisional games. So that's kind of why I think these first 4 games, it's like you're supposed to win these games. Go win these games. Are you a Super Bowl contender? Go win these games.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that's why it's tough. Like, right, we all have a similar record. Loss has got to come from somewhere, but it's not necessarily forcing. But hey, it happens. So you have them losing to the Seahawks. Me and Booner have them winning. They go to the bye week. They're 3-1, according to me and Mike. 4-0, according to Booner. And they get Dallas on the road for revenge. And this game, fellas, unless Jared Goff, knock on wood, is not there, they're beating the Cowboys. There is so much built up, not only just momentum from last year's game, but also I just want them to beat the Cowboys so bad. And I think they will. I think they're going to take care of the Cowboys. I think it'll be close. I mean, it's always going to be close. What's up, Lucas?
How are we, fellas?
You know what? Real quick, before we continue with the Cowboys, Lucas, we're only 4 games in. Give me your record for the first 4 games. So Rams, Bucks, Cardinals, Seahawks.
It's hard for me not to say 4-0. I think they're 4-0 at this point.
Thank you, Klotzy.
There you go.
Side by side, brother.
You know what week 1 is? Kyron Williams versus Jameer Gibbs. I can't wait.
Can we wait. If you say Kyron Williams one more time around me, I will never talk to you again.
Oh, Adam's over there.
I'm so tired of hearing about Kyron Williams.
That is funny.
I love you, Klotzy. It's good to have you. Hey, good to have you on the show, Klotzy. Welcome.
We'll keep it pushing. It actually works. Me and Mike, top 2. We got 3-1. Bottom 2. Pause. I don't know if that's a pause. 4-0. We'll keep it pushing here. So Cowboys, I said what I said. I think they beat the Cowboys. They're going to take care of them. I think there's just too much just momentum from last year. So I have a win here.
Yeah, I think this will be a game where Carlton Davis really shows his effectiveness. Are they going to try to run Zeke on the Detroit Lions defense? I mean, if you neutralize CeeDee Lamb just a little bit, then they start relying on get it to Jake Ferguson with Alex Anzalone and the Lions safeties. I think defensively, if Carlton Davis can just hold his own, I don't think he's going to shut down CeeDee, but just limit him. This is a game that honestly can get ugly if the Lions start getting some momentum.
I hope it does get ugly. Lions are getting the W. And I can't believe that they actually just settled for Zeke. That now that you brought that up, man. Oh,
Because
my
I was
God.
like, ooh, they're gonna be running Tony Pollard. I was like, oh shit, Tony Pollard's in Tennessee now. Who the hell is the running back? Oh my God, they just re-signed Zeke last week. What the hell is going on here?
He's
Yeah,
going to
to
run
your
for a
point, that
whopping
could be
17
one of the
yards.
first games where we really see our secondary show out and make a huge impact because they shouldn't be able to run the ball. So
Yeah.
You
Let
see-
Brandon Cooks go off.
Did you see ETN? His comment deck is 5-0 against the Lions. Y'all can't fall to 6-0. Yeah, no.
Brutal.
We're all in lockstep. All right, let's keep it.
I'm gonna go the Cowboys. I'm gonna pick the Cowboys.
No way, Booner.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Lions. I apologize.
Oh,
in my head, I was.
This is the most anti-Booner Pat thing
No.
I've ever heard. I
The
thought
Lions.
you'd be all
Sorry,
in
I
on
was
the
trying to
Lions.
throw mine out there before we moved on. The Lions.
Yeah.
All right,
So wait,
glad we
so
cleared that up.
Boone 5-0, 4-1, 4-1.
The Lions have to beat the Cowboys. They have to.
Yeah,
Dan
I
Campbell.
think they
Dan
will.
Campbell said it last year. We're going to play them again. We're going to be back in Dallas one way or another, whether it was the playoffs or this year. He knew what was happening. They're winning it. They're winning that game. Zero
Vikings,
chance they lose.
fellas on the road, 1:00 game. I'm sorry, that's a win. They're sweeping the Vikings. So
Yeah.
I think
I
so
don't-
too.
we don't have to even add too much input.
Yeah, I've got them starting 6-0.
All
Yeah.
right, 5-1.
God, I hate this right now.
Everyone keep track of what you kind of have because I'm.
Yeah, I still don't have them losing yet.
All right, so Titans, that's a win.
Yeah. 6-0. 6-0. Or is it 7?
7-0. 7-0.
Yeah, I have 6-1.
Yep, 6-1.
And then this
That'll
is
be one of those interesting games, though, fellas. The Titans will, and that it's there's going to be these games that like teams you don't think are going to compete, and they're going to come in and they're going to compete and they're going to give you something and they're going to have a chance to win the game. I feel like the Titans, a young team, is going to do that with a new coach.
It's got Jerry
So-
Sneed too, Tony Pollard.
Yeah, they'll give you something.
Ridley.
Packers on the road.
Loss. This is like one of the easier losses of the season for me to say.
No, this is where I'm at with it. Okay, I think reverse psychology here. Okay,
All right.
I don't know if that's even the right word.
Thought exercise.
Thought exercise.
Okay.
There you go. I think the Lions lose at home and beat them on the road.
Like last year.
Yes, because I think they're so comfortable playing in Green Bay. I just don't know why. I think the Lions beat the Packers here and then lose. I think they split with the Packers, but I have it opposite of you probably. So I'm going to go win here, but the loss is coming in week 14. I have that.
Okay. I mean, I don't hate it. It's splitting either way. I'm not going to throw a fit.
So either way, that's just how it's set up.
I just think I think that's a big deal for Jordan Love. You know what I mean? To get that first win in Lambeau over the Lions. Like, I think he's going to try to be locked in. That offense is going to be trying to be locked in. But, I mean,
and that week 14 game at Ford Field's primetime, too.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? You think all win here? Or a loss? I'm sorry. Loss here?
No, I have a W here as well, Jeff. But I do have them splitting as well with you. I have them losing.
So we agree 14, there.
So I'll let Booner speak on his.
Boys,
what do you
think? This is the first loss of the season. You have to find one
Boone.
somewhere. There's going to be a loss. You can't go. As long as this Booner path, we would love to go 17-0. I say it all the time, though. To win a Super Bowl, you have to go through and battle through some adversity, and this is one of those games, a road game versus the Packers. I think this is adversity game. This is an adversity game.
Now, here's where it gets
it's a little interesting.
Yeah, because they win in Green Bay. Yeah. Woo! And then they go on the road to Houston in prime time and they lose.
I'm with you. If this was in Detroit, I'm saying win. But the fact that it's in Houston, I think that Danielle Hunter is very familiar against this Detroit Lions team. That wide receiver trio is going to be stacked. People are sleeping on that Joe Mixon signing. I think Houston's going to be a problem. And it's one of those games where if you look back and say, they lost to the Texans, I really don't think you can be that upset because these are two, in my opinion, what will be top 5 to 6 teams, wherever you want to put the Texans at. But they're 2 elite teams.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll be very close, but I have them losing.
Yeah, I have them losing as well. I think they lose 2 straight.
Man.
I agree. I agree. He's a very fine quarterback.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I have them losing as well to the Texans.
Okay.
This is going to be another big test for
Me
the
and Boone have
secondary.
back-to-back losses.
What was that?
Yeah, this is a primetime game, Sunday Night Football. Now, here's where they get the confidence back, fellas. Jacksonville Jags, a 1 o'clock game. They work the Jags. I think, well, let me. It has to fit my narrative. So I think Trevor Lawrence. It won't be like last time. Okay, it won't be 45-17, whatever the hell it was. But I think they win this one by at least a touchdown. I do think they take care. Maybe it's like a 27-20 little action or something like that. But I think they beat the Jags. It's at home.
Back.
Yeah, they bounce back.
I have them losing 2 straight. I have them winning this game at home. I think at least so far, I don't have them losing that in Ford Field yet. So they're going to win this game. Like you said, it might be a touchdown. There's zero chance they lose to the Jags. No chance. They dominated them last time. They have their number. They know Dan knows what he's doing versus his team.
Yeah, I think defensively, this is a game where Detroit can dominate.
And offensively, that secondary dude is going to get, for the Jags, is going to get picked apart, man. That's what I think. DPJ, breakout game.
Hey.
6 catches, 96 yards. Put it down. Book it. Gentry?
Yeah, this is a dub. I don't trust Trevor Lawrence yet in that Jags offense. You just haven't seen enough consistency out of them. Obviously, they have a lot of great players on that offense, but even on the defensive side of the ball, they haven't been able to piece everything together. Coming into Ford Field, I don't think they're winning that game.
Wow.
Right. The Colts.
This is one.
They're taking care of the Colts.
Right.
Lucas, you could put them on. Watch out for the Colts. You do it all you want. I think they beat the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson throws 2 picks, and yeah, they beat them.
Gentry?
Yeah, they're beating the Colts. I don't care what. I'm sorry, I was trying to make my list here, catching up. Yeah, I think they beat the Colts. This is actually a day after my birthday as well, too, fellas. But so it's gonna be a nice birthday gift to shove it in Lucas's face that the Colts actually suck and they're not winning that division.
Well, I know where you guys stand. I know me and Booner are a little bit more aligned. I don't know what he's gonna do, but this is gonna be a tough month for the Lions. But they had a tough month last year. They had that 4-3 game stretch where Aiden Hutchinson went without a sack and Jared Goff was kind of struggling. I think that's kind of similar here. It's gonna be a gritty, hard-fought loss in Indy, but they're gonna come back with some momentum. I think this is just one of those trap games, fellas. It happens every year to every NFL team practically, and this is one of those games, in my opinion. Go to death, I think.
All right.
Hey, it's okay.
On a platter for you. Ready for this?
Let's hear it, Boone.
There's an echo. Who's echoing?
It might be from the boo.
Do you guys hear an echo?
No.
All right, it's gone. This is what I'm going to say. Klotzy, I apologize, brother.
Mm-hmm.
The Detroit Lions lose 3 of those 4-game stretch there. This is at some point in the season, they're going to go through a stretch of football. Again, I have them winning 13 games this year. They're going to get 3 of those losses in November, and they're going to struggle a little bit. It's going to happen. I'm going to go loss here in Indy. I think I'm with Klotzy. I think it's a little bit of a trap game here. And again, I don't think it might not be the Colts. It could be the Colts. It could be the Jags. It could be any one of those teams. There's going to be a trap game there. There's going to be one. Pick one. I'm picking the Colts as a trap game. That's going to be the trap game. Now, before people get mad at me, what?
Why'd you apologize to me?
I was just setting it up, Klotzy. Come on, little
no, you're like, I apologize. I was like, I thought you were about to disagree with me, and then we agreed. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. We'll keep it moving. John's going to join a little bit. Whatever we don't finish, we'll do it after John after he joins the program. So we'll go to Chicago at home. I think they beat the Bears at home.
This is Thanksgiving too, correct?
Yes,
Thanksgiving.
it is. I think
break the streak. Break the streak.
They break that losing streak on Thanksgiving. They take care of the Bears. So give me the Lions.
I'm gonna do a Sam Flannel. Go ahead, Boone.
They're winning in Thanksgiving. They need a Thanksgiving win bad. I think they're gonna get it here. I truly do. And I think that Caleb Williams, all this hype, blah, blah, blah. No, welcome. This is going to be one of his welcome moments to the NFL, is playing in Ford Field versus Detroit Lions fans. They better let him know. I just want to ask the boys, too. Fellas, is it okay if the Lions fans chant Jared Goff and boo Caleb Williams? Is that okay?
Hey, don't.
I'm asking
let's not
a question
be like
here.
that. Let's not
Is
be
it
like
okay,
that.
boys?
During any time during the Lions season, Jared Goff chants are always allowed anywhere, anytime.
Oh yeah, boo the hell out of him.
I was just asking. I was confirming.
Oh yeah, sure. Why would
John Kaminsky, he's gonna beat who they take last year in the draft tackle.
Darnell Wright.
Darnell Wright. He's gonna beat Darnell Wright off the edge on like a 3rd and 2. Strip sack Caleb Williams and he leaves the game. He'll be fine. It'll just be that game. But he gets the fumble. Lions absolutely dominate the Bears on Thanksgiving. Let Caleb Williams know what the Detroit Lions are all about at 12:30 while the whole country is watching. He'll go crying in the stands to his mama. He'll be painting his nails a special color that night for good luck. But no, there's no way the Chicago Bears go into Detroit on Thanksgiving and win this game. I love Matt Eberflus, but he ain't got that in him. He ain't cut from that cloth.
You're talking about knocking the nail polish off him?
Yeah, he's gonna have to repaint him. I would say so.
Ooh.
If I saw the paint come off Patrick Mahomes' helmet in the Super Bowl, I think that Caleb Williams will 100% have the nail polish knocked out of him for sure.
It's fair. Boys, we all agree?
Yes.
Here?
Oh yeah.
All right. Green Bay at Packers at Ford Field, prime time. This is where I have the loss. I think they beat the Packers on the road and they lose this game.
You're dead wrong, Jeff. I love you. You're wrong. Lions don't lose in primetime football. What is that? Monday night or Thursday night football? They don't lose in primetime, especially not to Jordan Love. Actually, they did last year Thanksgiving, but they're not losing in primetime to Jordan Love again. That's a dub there. Lions, at that point, I have them. They're going to be 10-3 at that point by the end of week 14 going into these last couple weeks. Big win. I think Jordan Love throws a couple picks in that game too.
Wow.
Ryan Branch.
I already said it earlier. I have the Lions taking an L here. They have to split. Sadly, Booner, they are taking a loss in prime time to Jordan Love, but this is only going to fuel them going forward. So
you said it, Boone. Adversity for a Super Bowl team. See, we don't have them losing 3 or 4. So this is our adversity.
One loss is an adversity.
I line with Boone.
Losing 3 or 4 is adversity. That's how you build grit. That's how you learn how to win football games when things go down.
Let them know, Boone.
So what are we all at 10-3 now?
I'm at 10-3.
I believe so.
Yep.
We just have the Packers loss. You guys have the Rams loss. We have the Colts as a loss.
We'll keep it moving. Now, Boone, this is a conflict of interest.
No, it's not.
Because they're at home against your Buffalo Bills.
No,
led by
take
your
that back.
Josh Allen. Oh, no, it's fair.
Take that back.
Okay, Buffalo Bills led by your guy Josh Allen.
Thank you. That's a little bit better.
That's fine. They're gonna stop this rebuilding ass roster. So I don't really care. They're gonna take care of them. Josh Allen 3 picks, and Lions win. I'll say 34-21.
You know what, Jeff? Whatever you just said there, I'm with. 34-21 Lions, 3 picks. I'm all in with you. They're going to dominate the Buffalo Bills. This might be one of those games where the Bills are in a little bit of a contention for the division, and this is one of those games that knocks them out, and people the next day on SportsCenter, you're going to start seeing, can Sean McDermott actually coach football? That's what's going to happen after this football game here.
This might be the game to get some fired, Boone.
Ben
Johnson
might want to run the score up in this game.
Yeah, that's the other thing, Boone. That's what you're doing. Your little interview process. Let me just torch your roster real quick. That's what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they handle him at home. That makes a huge difference too, but it's just a better roster. They're going to try to run James Cook, and that's going to go absolutely nowhere. So have fun with no Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. But hey, brought in, who'd they bring in? Chase Claypool. They brought in Chase Claypool. Curtis Samuel.
MVS.
Yep, MVS. Keon Coleman I do like, but that is probably, I would say, the worst wide receiver core in football outside of maybe the Patriots.
Mac Holland.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's a Booner guy. That's a Booner path guy for a second.
I did ask to bring him on the Detroit Lions last year as a 4th, 5th option. That was a guy I advocated for, and he did really well. He plays good football.
What do you? So you guys will all have win here.
Bills win. Yep.
Win over the Bills. Yep.
So John's waiting. We'll kind of do our quick. So last 3 games on the road to Chicago, on the road to San Francisco, and then at home against Minnesota. I think in this stretch, boys, they go 2-1 or 1-2. Actually, I have them losing in Chicago. No, 2-1, 2-1. Excuse me, 2-1. Sorry, it's 2-1. Losing to Chicago, beating the 49ers, beating the Vikings. So I have 2-1 at the end of this.
You have them beating the 49ers?
Yes. On the
Okay,
road.
I have the exact same thing. I have them losing to the Bears because I think they split with them this year. Just on the road, you know, you're playing on the road in December 22nd. That's going to be a tough game. You potentially have snow on that day. So.
And they finished 2-0 to end the year.
And then right after that, hey, you have a loss. Guess what? You bounce back with the biggest game of the year. You go on the road and beat the 49ers and kind of bounce back. And you're 12-4. You just beat the 49ers to almost secure a 1 seed. And all you have to do is get a win in week 18 to get the 1 seed to go 13-4. I think that's exactly it. By the way, actually, I'll let you guys go. Before we have Doc on, I have one last thing to say. I'll let you guys all go real quick, though.
Honestly, I was the same exact thing. I think they lose to the Bears, and I think this game possibly has some weather implications on it, which could affect the game. But I do think they finished 2-0, beating the San Francisco 49ers, getting some payback, getting some confidence against or going for them going into the playoffs. And obviously, they're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings to finish off the season. But I mean, to be honest, you never know with week 18. Maybe playoff implications are already figured out by then. And who knows how that game actually falls.
That's what I say. If you're playing San Francisco and I think they're going to lose to Chicago, I think they'll beat San Fran. I wonder if they beat San Fran, that locks up the number 1 seed because you have the head-to-head. I'm sure they have similar records. If that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if they rested week 18 and then they take an extra loss there just because Minnesota can try to develop. I wouldn't be surprised.
Dan would never take a loss just to rest. He would never take a loss just to rest.
I got you. But I'm just saying I would not be surprised.
Now, I just want to throw this out there. So what's your
They go 2-1.
You say 2-1. Okay, so I just want to throw something out there. I don't want an apology from the boys, but if I did my math correctly, and I could be wrong, I think we just all went through this. And a couple weeks ago, I got laughed at for saying 13 wins. And we just went through the schedule, and I believe
no one laughed at you. We said
you guys were like,
you acted like we said they're getting 10 wins.
All right, settle down. Quit coming at me, boys. This is what I'm saying. You guys, I did get laughed at, actually. No, I'll go back and clip it. You guys were like, 11 or 12 games. Oh, Booner, the Booner path. Oh, 13 wins. No, I'm not going at you guys. I'm just saying.
Well, then what are we doing?
I'm just letting you guys know.
We're going at
Listen, I'm not that crazy.
I'm not going at you guys, but I'm going at you guys.
The Booner path isn't that crazy because when we did when we first saw the teams we were going to play a couple months ago, you guys all were like, 11, 12, maybe more so 12. And I'm like 13. You guys are like, whoa, Booner. Well, that's a lot. That's tough.
Booner.
And then you guys are like, we have a tough schedule.
We laughed because we argued so hard over a game. And we're like, what are we talking about? That's
no, because someone in here, I don't remember who it was.
I said 11 games, and then remember at the end, I go, you know what? That just doesn't seem right. I want you guys
to be like, whoa, Booner. You guys
you wanted to take a victory lap is all.
No, not a victory lap. I just want to say, hey, boys, this wasn't that crazy what I was trying to say. That's all.
Yeah, that's why I'm not really like, I just thought, hey, a game, like, cool, like you can have the game. 12-5 when we initially looked at it, 13-4. I was gonna say, Boone, I got 13-4. So looking at the games now the schedule's out, you get to see like when games are, what times. Like, yeah, you're right, 13 games. I don't know what I had the 5th loss as before. I really don't, but I don't see 5 losses.
I could easily see him losing to San Fran. I could easily see something happening like we said, week 18 with playoff incompletion.
That's probably the floor, I guess. Trutella put it. It's a good floor. 12-5.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because you're right, Lucas. They got a couple sneaky ones in there.
Sorry, I just wanted to let the boys know.
Booner or Lucas said, I think maybe you could put a loss in, that San Fran or Vikings game, given San Fran could obviously beat you. And then who knows what playoff implications are like by the time if you win against San Fran. So
hey, welcome aboard, by the way, fellas. Welcome aboard to the 13 win club.
Man wanted a victory lap over a game so bad.
It wasn't a victory lap. It wasn't all right. I'm not doing this. No, it wasn't over one game. It was when we had the conversation. I'll go back and clip it. You guys were like, thought it was.
Well, I could see if it was like 9-8 to 13-4.
But Jeff, it wasn't the one game. It was that you guys thought I was absolutely insane saying 13 wins.
No, I did not. One game I thought you were are absolutely insane.
You guys are just like 13 wins. By golly.